The coup d'etat of government. A message to the Gentiles. Isaiah chapter 42, verse 6. I am the Creator. I have called you, Israel, in righteousness. I will take you by the hand and keep you. I will give you as a covenant for the people and a light for the nations. There's been a coup d'etat in the government of the United States, and it happened right up under your nose. While most didn't see it, nevertheless, it happened. This is why the country of the U.S. is in such despair. This is why there's so much chaos, atrocities, abuses, mismanagements, and the list goes on. While they had us fighting against each other, the black skin and the white skin, they were busy taking control, taking away the power that rests with the people. Yeah, a coup d'etat in the U.S. This message is for the Gentiles because there is nothing we as Hebrew people can do. It's not our fight, although we're caught up right in the midst of it. So whatever happens to you, happens to us. So today, I'm shining that light. I hope this goes viral, but likely not. But the power is not in the Hebrew people. We have no power. We have no military. We have no king. All we have is captivity. Our time is coming. It's not quite here yet. So where does this power rest? It rests in we the people. I know that I don't know how many subscribers that would be considered Gentiles. I don't like to use that word, but let's keep it real. There are quite a few on this channel. It's you that I'm speaking to. Whether you realize it or not, the power is in you. The Hebrew people can do nothing. And like I said, whatever happens to you, happens to us. Today I'm shining that light. We're going to talk about the Constitution, which does not include us, but it definitely includes you. I'm going to show you how you lost your grip. Whether it was because you're in deep sleep, maybe even to the point of being comatose. But this light, you need to see. Hopefully you'll take this light and shine it somewhere else. Me as a Hebrew, I'm limited. But you can go anywhere you want. Shine this light. The U.S. Constitution, in operation since 1789, establishes that the government's power comes from the people. Do you know what that means? It comes from the people, not the other way around. So that's telling you, you have the power. You are supposed to be in control. You've allowed these imposters to usurp the authority that belongs to you, the people. And while we were busy fighting each other, they were busy creating laws that you were supposed to be the ones who said yes to the law or no to the law. You didn't say either way. You know why? Because you were busy, distracted with racism, among other things. The Declaration of Independence, adopted in 1776, explicitly stated that governments derive their just powers from the consent of the people. You have the power. While some argue that the federal government power has expanded over time, that is a fact. The Constitution's framework ensures that government remains accountable to who? The people. What are the people doing? Nothing. On your watch, you are sitting with your hands folded, allowing this to happen. So basically, this is your fault. And like I said, there's nothing we can do about it. All we can do is shine the light. I'm shining the light. Wake up, take a look. Look at this country that's called the free country. Look at it. Look at you struggling to pay your bills. Most of you wondering where is the next meal going to come from. They are forcing you into situations that should not be allowed or possible. So you've lost your power because you weren't paying attention. The Constitution framework ensures that government remains accountable to the people. The U.S. Constitution and the people. The Constitution preamble, which begins with, "We the people." Let me make something really clear right here, because that's not talking about the Hebrew people. We were never included in your Constitution. We just happen to be sharing space in a country with you that clearly hated our guts. This power was given to you, and you dropped the ball. This Constitution preamble begins with "We the people," and it clearly establishes that the government's authority originates from the citizens. This principle of popular sovereignty is supposed to be the cornerstone of American democracy. The Declaration of Independence and the consent of the governed, or the people. This was adopted in 1776. It stated that governments derive their power from the consent of the governed, the people. What people are we talking about? Surely not us, because we have no power. We had none then, and we have none now. So it's talking about you. This happened on your watch. This principle was a key justification for the American Revolution and the subsequent establishment of a new republic. Federalism and the 10th Commandment. The Constitution system of federalism, along with the 10th Amendment, further emphasizes the principle that power is shared between the federal government and the states. Who are the states? It's the people. Y'all probably have forgotten that. But that's talking about you. And that any power not specifically granted to the federal government is reserved to the states or the people. Do I need to repeat that? Any power not specifically granted by who? By the people. If you didn't give them specific power, they have none. The evolution of government power. While the Constitution established a government derived from the people, there have been arguments and debates throughout American history about the balance of power between the federal government and the states, and about the extent to which the federal government's power has expanded. It's out of control. There should be checks and balances. The Constitution also includes numerous mechanisms, such as checks and balances between the three branches of government. Listen, the government did not create itself. The people hired the government. They work for you, not for us, but we are the light. So I'm going to shine this light on something that you obviously cannot see. The Constitution also includes numerous mechanisms such as checks and balances between the three branches of government, designed to limit the power of each branch and to ensure that no single branch becomes too powerful. Can you see that has happened? They have become too powerful. Now, instead of them working for us, they are now ruling over us. And I say us, I mean you. But when they rule over you, remember, we're caught in the middle of this. We have no power. I don't care who they put in that office, black, yellow, green, or brown. Even if it's a black, they have no power. Does the Declaration of Independence say that we can overthrow the government? Have any of you ever asked this question? Have you even realized that this is a fact? To secure these rights, governments are instituted among men, deriving their just powers from the consent of the people. What people? You people. Remember, we don't have no power. We're still in captivity. We just happen to share that space with you. But this atrocity happened on your watch. You dropped the ball. Pick it up. To secure these rights, governments are instituted among men, deriving their just powers from the consent of the people. That whenever any form of government becomes destructive of these ends, It's the right of we the people to alter or to abolish and to institute a new government. Why didn't you do that? It's time for somebody to shine this light on the real problem. You see, the government, as we know it today, is definitely a problem. But where does the problem originate from? We the people. And again, not us. The Constitution did not include us. We the people or you. It's the right of the people to alter or to abolish it and to institute a new government. In a democracy, the core idea is that the people are ultimately in charge. Again, it's talking about you. You can change this mess. Maybe you still sleep. Maybe you're comatose. Maybe you just don't care. But you're suffering right now. You're suffering just like us. And you allow your people to abuse and usurp authority that was intended for you. You let them come in your house and order you around. While we're busy fighting racism and all this other mess, they're over here creating laws without your consent. And when they execute these laws, you just twiddle your thumbs and follow it. Oh, you get angry, you get upset, you get frustrated, but what do? You bow and you take it. They don't run you. You run them. Or at least that's the way it was supposed to be. But it is the people who are ultimately in charge. And their power is the foundation of the government. It's based on you. The phrase government of the people, by the people, for the people, by Abraham Lincoln captures this concept well. Here's how this plays out in different forms of democracy. Direct democracy. In this system, citizens directly participate in decision-making and policy initiatives rather than through elected representatives. This means citizens vote on policies and laws themselves. You've been completely removed from the whole platform. They don't even include you. You go to bed on Monday night and wake up on Tuesday morning and there's a brand new law which you had nothing to do with. You sleep on the job. And whatever happens to you happens to us. In spite of us not having any power, kings, armies, or whatever, it happens to us. Instead of you paying attention to what your government was doing, you were busy finding fault with my skin color. This is the most common form of democracy in modern societies. Citizens elect representatives to make decisions and create laws on the people's behalf. That's the way it's supposed to go. These representatives are accountable to the people they represent. Let me put that in another way. whatever laws these people create, so-called government, cannot be allowed to manifest unless you, the people, agree to them, accept them, and give it the green light. Without you, it shouldn't be able to happen. So how do you explain all these laws that you fussing about, that you don't agree with, that's causing you to decline financially, morally, and mentally? How do you explain this? In essence, in a democracy, the people's influence on government is primarily achieved through voting. That's how it's supposed to work, not the other way around. Choosing leaders through free and fair elections, we don't have those anymore. You don't have that. There has not been a fair election since Kennedy. And it's just my suspicion only that's when the coup d'etat happened. Again, that's just my suspicion. But choosing leaders through a free and fair elections, y'all know that don't happen anymore. Go back and look at the election between George Bush and Jim Kerry, or John Kerry. There is no free, fair elections, not anymore. It's selections. The people that goes into that White House has already been selected, not elected. And again, this happened on your watch. I'm shining the light. Take this light and share it with everybody you can. Open up the eyes of people in your circle. Who knows if this will make a difference? Who knows if it's too little too late? But does that mean you shouldn't at least try? Don't let these creatures trample on you. Every right you were born with has been taken away. Now they're talking about banning gasoline engines within the next 3 to 7 years. You will no longer be allowed to own a car that uses gasoline. Where will that leave you? Engaging in political and cultural life, including advocating for policies and holding officials accountable. Do you know what that means? They answer to you. Is that the way it works today? No. You answer to them. That's kind of like I come to work for you, and then I tell you, the boss, the owner of the business, I tell you what to do. How many of you would let that happen? That's exactly what you did. Accountability, holding public officials responsible for their actions and their decisions, often through elections and other oversight mechanisms. While representative democracy involves elected officials making decisions, they are still expected to act in the best interest of we the people, those who they represent, and are subject to being removed from office through the electoral process if they fail to do so. When is the last time that happened? This is why the government is rogue. This is why they just do whatever they want, because they don't worry about you no more. Why? Because they have usurped, taken your power. They could care less about you. When are you going to stand up? When a government usurps power over the people, it essentially seizes and holds authority without legal right or legitimate consent. This can have several serious consequences, potentially leading to erosion of rights and liberties. Don't y'all see that today? You can't even speak freely on YouTube. In a lot of countries, including America, you got to be careful who hear you say anything bad about government. You could end up in prison. There is no more freedom of speech. There is no more liberty. But didn't the Constitution guarantee that to you? And you don't see how they took that from you? Suppression and dissent. The government might silence opposition, y'all know this is going on, and restrict freedoms like speech, press, and assembly. They passed a law a few months ago where you are not allowed to speak against those people over there in what is called Israel today. You are not allowed to claim your true ethnicity. If you do, you can be arrested and imprisoned for anti-Semitism. It doesn't matter if you are who you say you are. That doesn't matter. This is restricting you from your freedom to speak. You can't even claim your true identity. When is enough going to be enough? When will you get tired? When will you learn that you got feet and legs? Stand up, or you will continually stand down. Arbitrary rule. Instead of being governed by established laws, people are subject to the whims of dictations of those in power. And those that are in power are not you. The position of power belongs to you, but you have somebody else sitting in that seat. Loss of representation. Citizens has no influence on government decisions and may not be fairly represented in ruling structure. Violation of the rule of law. The government operates outside the bounds of the law. I know you know that. Potentially leading to lawlessness. Oh, is that not hitting the nail on the head? And arbitrary actions against individuals and groups. Y'all don't see that? I watch YouTube and I see people putting tape across their mouth because they don't want to say the wrong thing. Tyranny and oppression. Y'all don't see that? See, once upon a time, this kind of thing only happened to people of my color. But now, it's happening to everybody. No wonder Burkina Faso President Ibrahim Traoré decided to stand up because he got tired. He stood up and he did something about it. He got rid of all the fear. And all of this was going on in their country. And from who? The West. France, Portugal, Spain. The government becomes harsh, unfair, and uses power to suppress the people. Come on, y'all see this. It's all around you. You cannot look any direction and not see this. leading to fear, and there's a problem right there. The fear. Leading to fear and suffering. Y'all are so scared of the people that work for you, you won't even call them out when they screw up or when they break the law. They put you in prison for breaking the law. Every single one of them daily breaks every freaking law there is. But none of them goes to prison. But don't you try that. I can assure you, you will end up in prison. Why is this happening? Because you're scared. You're cowards. Economic hardship. The government may seize assets. Y'all don't think they do? Control businesses. Don't think they do. And implement policies that create economic inequality that harms the general population. Y'all know this is true. I wasn't planning on doing any more videos, at least not for a while. But this kept penetrating my spirit. I couldn't help this. I don't understand. What is your problem? Why do you sit back and watch the criminality, the tyranny, and do nothing? This African country, Burkina Faso, they gave you an example. This is how you do it. The first step is to get rid of the fear. Take back your control. Because if you don't, the government seizes the assets, control businesses, and implement policies that create economic inequality that harms the general population. Social unrest, suppression of dissent, lack of representation, and oppressive policies leads to social unrest and instability. Look at your White House right now. These so-called leaders of the so-called free world, they're fighting like cats and dogs. Trump fighting with Musk. Undermining of democratic institutions. Weakening of checks and balances. When a government usurps power, it often diminishes the role of other branches of government, like the legislature and judiciary, that are meant to check and balance its power. That no longer exists because the people handed the power over to tyranny, oppression. Loss of faith in government? Hell yeah. People lose trust in legitimacy of the government and its institution when power is seized illegitimately. It's your fault. Unconstitutional changes in government can create a cycle of instability and hinder democratic progress. It also affects international implications. Regional instability, unconditional changes of government within a country can threaten regional security and stability. International condemnation. Other nations and international organizations may impose sanctions or take other actions against governments that seize power illegally. In summary, when a government usurps power, it undermines the fundamental principles of a just and free society, leading to oppression, the erosion of rights, and instability, both domestically and internationally. They want to put everybody in the entire world under their rulership, little by little. And if somebody don't wake up and see this light, they will succeed. Last but not least, rogue government or states. The term rogue state is often used to describe a nation that behaves in ways that violate international norms and laws, often acting in a way that is perceived as hostile or untrustworthy. In the context of the United States government, critics have suggested that it may be behaving in ways that are considered rogue, really, due to its foreign policy, interventions, disregard for international law, and actions that undermine democratic principles. Let me give you a good example. Right at this moment, Trump wants Julius Malema arrested because of something he said that Trump didn't like. Well, I got news for you, Trump. Julius Malema is free to speak in his country. It doesn't matter whether you like it or not. He can say what he wants, and what he said was true. That's why you got butthurt. But my point is this: you're reaching all the way across the globe to try to discipline somebody that you have no power over. What makes you think you have that right? Is it because your own people allowed you to rogue and abuse them? So you now believe you can reach all the way across the other side of the world and do it to them? This is the reason you hate Burkina Faso or Ibrahim Traore, because he ain't having it. And that's a problem for you. Foreign policy, interventions, and actions. Interventions in other countries. The argument that the U.S. has a history of intervening in other countries. Oh, is that not true? They in everybody's business except their own. They're trying to correct the world, police the world. Look at all the crime right in the midst of the government. Who's doing anything about that? I can put together a list that will fill this page with laws that the government breaks on a daily basis, and not one of them have served time. So the argument that the U.S. has a history of intervening in other countries is true, often with the goal of overthrowing governments or imposing its own political and economic systems upon other countries. Do y'all think that's a lie? Again, I can put a list together showing you exactly when it happened, where it happened, and to whom it happened. It was done by them. They get away with this crap in their own country where they've stolen the power from you, and now they want to try to use it everywhere else. But Africa is tired. They're not doing it. They ain't having it. Disregard for international law. The U.S. is guilty of not adhering to international law, particularly in areas like the use of force, human rights, and the International Criminal Court. Sponsorship of terrorists and guerrilla groups. Critics have pointed to instances where the U.S. has supported and funded groups like ISIS, among others, the Taliban, often in the context of overthrowing opposing governments. Violations of human rights in wartime. The U.S. has also been criticized for human rights violations in wartime, including the use of torture and extrajudicial killings. That's just a piece of that fact. They also went into Iraq under the guise of weapons of mass destruction. There was no such thing. And what happened? They killed Saddam, and Bush walked. Domestic concerns, erosion of democratic principles. Some argue that the U.S. government is undermining democratic principles. I wouldn't call that an argument. I would call that a fact, such as the separation of powers, freedom of the press, and the right to a fair trial. Man, I could ask some of my brothers if they've ever been to trial for whatever the case might have been, can they call it fair? Polarization and division. The U.S. is experiencing increasing polarization and division, which some argue makes it difficult to govern effectively and uphold democratic values. Lack of accountability. That's our biggest problem. Critics point to instances where the U.S. officials have been accused of misconduct or illegal activity, but have not yet been held accountable. I'm shining a light. My people can't do nothing about this problem. This is not about my people, although we're right dead smack in the middle of it. This is for the Gentiles. There is a responsibility. If you're so sick and tired, stand up. Peace.